Welcome everyone, join us today as we delve into the life and legacy of Peter Green, the founding member of Fleetwood Mac, renowned for his hauntingly beautiful melodies and emotive guitar playing. So let's dive in. Peter Green, born Peter Allen Greenbaum on the 29th of October 1946, in Bethnal Green, in London. He was zodiac sign Scorpio. Peter was born at home in Bethnal Green, a neighbourhood in London's East End. His grandparents were Jewish immigrants from Poland and Ukraine. In the years leading up to World War II, fascism and anti-Semitism were on the rise in both England and Germany, with Jewish families in the East End often targeted by thugs hurling bricks and bottles through their windows. Because of this, after the war, Peter's father legally changed the family name from Greenbaum to Green. The youngest of Joe and Anne's 4 children, Peter was introduced to the guitar by his brother Michael, who taught him his first chords on a hand-me-down instrument when Peter was just 10. The brothers often wrote songs together, and by age 11, Peter was teaching himself to play. As a teenager, he began performing as a bassist in local bands before later transitioning to lead guitar. By 15, he was playing professionally while working for various shipping companies in East London. Peter's first band as a bassist was Bobby Dennis and the Dominoes, performing pop hits, rock and roll standards, and Shadows covers. He later joined rhythm and blues groups like the Muskrats and the Tridents. By Christmas 1965, Peter was playing lead guitar in Peter Barden's band, Peter B's Lunars, where he first met lanky drummer Mick Fleetwood. At just 19, Peter spent 3 months with Peter Barden's band before joining John Mayall's Bluesbreakers, a group known for its ever-changing lineup, which at the time included bassist John McVie and drummer Ainsley Dunbar. A devoted Eric Clapton fan, Peter persistently lobbied Mayall for a chance when Clapton left for an extended trip to Greece. Peter impressed Mayall with his talent, but when Clapton returned after a few gigs, Peter was out of the band. 6 months later, when Clapton departed for good to form Cream, Mayall persuaded Peter to return. Initially, fans were hostile to Peter, seeing him as a replacement for Clapton, but they gradually came to admire his skill. Producer Mike Vernon was shocked when the Bluesbreakers arrived to record A Hard Road in late 1966 without Clapton, but Peter's performance quickly won him over. On many tracks, it was difficult to distinguish Peter's playing from Clapton's. With the haunting instrumental, The Supernatural, Peter showcased the beginnings of his signature fluid, emotive style, drawing comparisons to B.B. King. Mayall gifted Peter some free studio time, during which Peter, Fleetwood, and McVie recorded 5 tracks. Among them was an instrumental titled, Fleetwood Mac, named after the rhythm section of the Bluesbreakers, Mac being short for McVie. Following the session, Peter suggested to Fleetwood that they form a new band. Hoping to secure McVie as their bassist, they even named the group Fleetwood Mac as an incentive. However, McVie initially declined, choosing the stability of his steady income over the uncertainty of a new venture. Undeterred, Green and Fleetwood moved forward, recruiting slide guitarist Jeremy Spencer and bassist Bob Brunning. Brunning joined with the understanding that he would step aside if McVie later agreed to join. This first version of the band debuted on August 13, 1967, at the Windsor Jazz and Blues Festival, billed as Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, also featuring Jeremy Spencer. Just weeks after their debut, McVie agreed to join, marking the formation of what would become a legendary lineup. This second iteration of Fleetwood Mac soon achieved success with Peter's iconic compositions, including Black Magic Woman, Albatross, Man of the World, Oh Well, and The Green Manalishi. These tracks not only became fan favorites but also established the band as international stars. However, fame brought its challenges, including indulgence in excess. The group released their second album, Mr. Wonderful, in August 1968 and embarked on their first American tour. During their time in San Francisco, they mingled with the Grateful Dead and were introduced to LSD by the Dead's infamous supplier, Owsley Stanley. By December, the pressures of fame and the influence of psychedelics began to take their toll. During the start of a 30-date tour in New York, the effects of Stanley's offerings marked the beginning of the end for Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, with Jeremy Spencer also heading toward his eventual departure. Peter's selflessness was instrumental in Fleetwood Mac's musical success, laying the foundation for the band's future. This remains true despite Danny Kirwan's reported lack of personal connection with Peter after joining as an 18-year-old in 1968. Notably, both Peter and Kerwin's mental health visibly declined following the 1969 release of Man of the World. Both were consuming large amounts of LSD, and Peter had embraced a spiritual philosophy blending Buddhism and Christianity. He began wearing white robes and a crucifix and grew increasingly uneasy about wealth accumulation. Peter became increasingly fixated on the idea of not accumulating wealth, to the point of giving his money away and urging his bandmates to do the same. A classic tale of rock and roll, tension and drug use ultimately unraveled Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. The breaking point came in 1970 with the infamous Munich LSD party incident. While on a European tour, Peter was whisked away at Munich airport by two enigmatic German hippies, allegedly commune leaders Rainer Langens and Uschi Obermeier. The band attended a party at their lavish Bavarian mansion, described by Mick Fleetwood as eerie and full of excess, with weird stuff in every room. The night took a dark turn as the band experienced bad LSD trips, while Peter was isolated, playing unsettling music with commune members. Some saw the commune as a cult preying on Peter's wealth. Despite this, Peter recalled the night fondly, calling the music the most spiritual he'd ever recorded. His bandmates, however, felt the incident marked the beginning of the end for Peter's time in Fleetwood Mac. Following the party, Peter grew increasingly disillusioned and left the band in May 1970, soon after the release of his song, The Green Manalishi, inspired by a nightmare and symbolizing money as a corrupting force. Though he briefly returned in 1971 to help the band out when Jeremy Spencer abruptly quit, the Munich incident remained a pivotal moment in Peter's decline and departure from the band. Spencer, grappling with his own mental health struggles, abruptly left Fleetwood Mac to join the controversial Christian cult, the Children of God, after encountering two of its members on the street. In response, Peter flew to the US and, after just a brief 30-minute rehearsal, joined the band on tour. Their performances largely consisted of improvised jams, leaving the group uncertain about each night's set. Ironically, the tour was a resounding success, with encores at every show. Mick Fleetwood later noted it was the most profitable tour the band had ever undertaken. Peter's final performance with Fleetwood Mac became legendary. The band delivered a 4-hour version of their hit, Black Magic Woman, captivating the audience. Promoter Bill Graham reportedly faced a near riot when attempting to end the show at midnight. The concert ultimately wrapped up at 4 a.m. when Peter ran out of ideas. The band's next chapter, the Buckingham Nicks era, would bring him unparalleled superstardom, albeit with its own share of turbulence, as history would later reveal. In 1970, Peter released The End of the Game, an album of free-form jams with 4 other musicians showcasing some of his most intense guitar work. While he continued to play music sporadically, his behavior grew increasingly erratic. After an incident in 1974 where he smashed furniture at his parents' home, he was hospitalized and diagnosed with schizophrenia. Peter underwent electroshock therapy and heavy medication. He also endured a period of homelessness, having given away most of his money. In a notable episode, Peter was arrested for threatening his accountant David Simmons with an unloaded gun after receiving an unwanted royalty check. He served some jail time but gradually began to recover. In January 1978, he married Jane Samuels, with whom he had a daughter, though the couple divorced the following year. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, Green returned with albums such as In the Skies, Little Dreamer, White Sky, and Colors. These projects featured collaborators like Peter Bardens, drummer Reg Isidore from Robin Trower's band, and Fairport Convention's Dave Matax. He also contributed to Mick Fleetwood's 1981 solo album, The Visitor, reprising the Fleetwood Mac classic, Rattlesnake Shake. In 1995, British author Martin Kelmans published a biography of Green, while Irish guitarist Gary Moore paid tribute with the album Blues for Greenie. Around this time, Peter moved in with his brother Len, Len's wife Gloria, and their mother in Galston, near Great Yarmouth, where his recovery gained traction. Though reclusive throughout the 1990s, Peter slowly resumed recording and formed the Peter Green Splinter Group with guitarist Nigel Watson and drummer Cozy Powell. Between 1997 and 2004, the group released 9 albums. On January 12, 1998, Peter was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame alongside Fleetwood Mac, marking a rare highlight as he performed Black Magic Woman with Santana. He later formed Peter Green and Friends, touring Europe until 2010. Ultimately, he retired from performing, weary of the demands of life on the road. Sadly, on July 25, 2020, Peter Green passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 73, while residing on Canvey Island, in Essex. And there you have it. Though Peter faced many challenges, his music continues to resonate, inspiring generations of musicians and fans alike. Thank you for joining us in honoring a true legend of the blues. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.